Hey guys, I'm not even gonna say nothing post-fight. The floor is this man's.
All right.
1 second. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, bro.
All right, good, cool.
All right, hey everyone, I'm here with MMA Island with Justin Big Pretty Willis. What's up, Justin? How you doing today, man?
I'm great, man. How you doing?
I'm pretty good, A little tired, but all in all, pretty good.
Where you located?
I'm in Canada actually. I'm just north of the border of Washington, so you know, Seattle.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, so I'm by there. So West Coast.
Okay, nice.
Where are you? You're I know you train at ATT, right? Are you in Florida?
Yeah, I'm in Florida.
Okay, yeah. So you're 2 o'clock there, right?
Yeah, so I'm at the headquarters.
Okay. Are you at ATT right now?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Let me put in my headphones too.
Boom. Now I can hear you a lot better.
Okay, good. Is that where you're right now, ATT?
Yes, sir.
And how long have you been there for? When did you make the move to ATT?
I just been here now for I think going on 4 months.
Okay, cool. Yeah, because I saw on your Instagram, that in May that you were there, so I figured it was somewhat recent.
Yeah, man. I decided to make a move. It was just the best. You know, I feel like the opportunities at ATT are just a lot more grand. You know, there's a lot more staffing. There's a lot more fighters. It's just, to me, it's better for me.
I mean, ATT's got to be arguably the best camp, like for MMA fighters. Like they have so many champs, like so many people have done well from ATT.
AKA is so concentrated. It's a big little gym.
Yeah,
you know,
I saw you with DC.
You don't understand it until you get out of the situation.
Yeah.
What's like really going on at ATT? I mean, at AKA. It's just it's a big little gym, and if you're not one of the, the main guy at that weight, then you're not going to get attention. There's not enough coaches to go around.
I see that. So it's a pretty small gym, hey? Because they don't have a ton of guys.
It's a big building, but a small gym mentality.
Right. Okay. I see that, and that's.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in California.
Yeah, I get that. You know, they have Kane, DC, Luke, Habib, and
and I was coming up, and I'm the next guy. I was the next guy up naturally, but there's just like when you have a small gym mentality, the mindset is not really like the next guy up. It's kind of weird to kind of explain. It's like it's all about the here and now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not about the development and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, because and ATT is just a whole nother mindset where it's just like they're preparing for the future, which is an awesome thing, so to see the differences.
Yeah, I feel like
there's not enough resources. My bad.
Yeah.
There's not enough resources.
I feel like ATT gives everyone attention. Like everyone seems to, and there's so many people to train with. It seems like a really solid camp. Yeah.
Yes.
Because I remember like DC and Kane. Like DC moved down to light heavyweight for a while because of Kane. He didn't want to fight Kane.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
How do you like living in Florida? Like, how's that? Do you like it better than California?
I mean, California is one of those places where, if we talk, I mean, we could talk about it on a whole lot of different planes. But if you're talking about it from economic standpoint, Florida's better. From a sociological standpoint, not California. Florida's better. There's a whole bunch of things that Florida just has that California doesn't have. So California is like one of those. You talk about liberal state. Like it's one of those things where it's covertly oppressive.
Mm-hmm.
Like you don't really understand what's really going on. Like a lot of people don't understand. 85% of the population has no understanding what's going on. They're just left. They're robots. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So whatever media tells them, whatever social media tells them, that's what they believe, and they go off about their days believing something that could be completely false. And every day it's like a crapshoot, you know. So when you leave a place like California, you realize how oppressive it really is. You know, with the rules, the lack of freedoms, and how they really stifle upon your constitutional rights. And you know, places like Florida, it's a lot more loose.
Were you how long were you in California? Were you like, you weren't born there or anything, were you?
My whole life.
Oh, you were born in Cali. You were born in California.
Yeah, I'm a Cali guy.
Okay. I saw the golden state of mind. That kind of made me think of the Warriors.
Yeah,
wow.
man.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's where I'm from.
Okay, cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow. So man, that's crazy. So, and you're 32, right? So like that must like been big, moving out of the state you lived your entire life.
I mean, I think it's just time to break my comfort, because again, I stayed at AKA so long, not because I enjoyed it, not because I felt like it was necessarily the right thing for me to do. It was just a comfortability thing.
I get that.
And before I hit my prime at heavyweight, I needed to go off and move and actually, you know, get out of my comfort zone and learn, and actually, for the first time in my career, actually get coached.
Yeah. So how long? Because you haven't fought in UFC for a while.
A year now.
But, yeah, wasn't it late 2018? I think your last.
2019. It was 2019.
Oh, it was 2019. Okay, so
yeah,
okay, it was 2019. I can't. Yeah. No, it was 2019. Against Curtis Blades. So did you decide to make the move out of AKA shortly after that, or was that more of a recent thing?
Yeah,
just this.
It was just, you know, looking back, and you know, when you lose a fight anytime, you know, you lose a fight, you start to question your training. You question the people you have around you. You start to question these things, and you for the first time, because when you're winning, everything is jolly.
Of course,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm a very competitive guy. And so, you know, I felt like people that I had around me, I was allowing to, I guess I was giving out more energy than I was getting. Right?
I get
and so that's one thing. And then also, you know, when you talk about being at AKA, I wasn't getting the resources that I needed to be the #1 fighter in the world. You know, guys like Curtis, guys like DC, guys like Kane, guys, you know, these guys have entire camps around them. That's their advantage. That's something that I've seen with my own eyes. And so when you have the focus, and you know, so it gives you a mental edge as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So and that's why I sat back for literally 9 months, and I studied every single gym. And I said, you know, because again, when I got cut from the UFC, people lose all the time. So the question that people have to ask is, I'm one of the top heavyweights in the world. You have to start asking yourself, why did they cut this guy?
They cut you? I don't even think I might have seen that. Why would they cut you? You lost one fight.
You know, so people have to start asking this question. Why? Yeah. You know, and so a lot of people know what I stand for and how I speak out. You know, so when I did get cut, there was nobody to come and say, hey, this doesn't look right.
Yeah.
Right? So, you know, I was told literally, you know, if before I even lost, this is before losing was even a train of thought in my mind. Before I even lost, I had a teammate who is a well-known teammate who came to me and said, essentially, because what you stand for, and this is a guy who's respected, because of what you stand for, if you ever lose, they will cut you.
Fuck. Really? Damn,
yes,
man.
That is a fact. Cross my heart, hope to die. You know?
I don't think I knew that you were, because I scrolled through your Instagram, you know, trying to see if you, because I was surprised you haven't fought for a while, like, you know, for a year or so, and I'm like, is Big Pretty still with UFC? And now that you mentioned, I think I do remember seeing something about you getting cut, and I was surprised.
you think about this. So now we fast forward, everybody is quote unquote Black Lives Matter.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for a week or so, that's what it was. Everybody, you know what I mean? But you think about, you're one of the only, and this is why I had to create my own voice.
Mm-hmm.
I have to create my own channel. What you talking about, Willis? Go check it out with me and Fight Mike. But I had to start creating my own voice because when the UFC thing happened, the MMA people stopped messing with me. I didn't get any more interviews because I told them that I would not stop talking about, stuff that I see in society.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of these MMA news people, they don't give a shit, man. They really don't. Right? Not unless it's clout, So when the whole Black Lives thing is, it's clout. Clout. But when it actually comes to the progress of society, because when you talk about the progress of a people, you're talking about the progress of society.
Yeah.
Right? And so, and it's something that's very, very important. But they don't care because it's all about clout. Clout, whatever is popular at the moment. And so, again, these guys will get what's coming to them.
Yeah, I went through your Instagram and saw a lot of political kind of posts, like just talking about society, not even necessarily political, but just talking about society. Yeah, and you definitely have like a big voice and aren't afraid to, give your opinion. And do you think that's kind of why UFC didn't because you were very opinionated, you speak your mind, and
I mean, what I'm not going to say that they are slave owners, but I'm going to say this: what slave owner would want their property, because that's how they deem us, their property speaking out, things that are not politically correct.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So, again, you got guys like again, I lost to the number 3 guy in the world.
I know, Curtis Blades is a beast, man. He's fucking
great. So you know what I mean, and that's something where most guys lose. You get one, because what I said was, listen, I need time to go back to the drawing board. Mm-hmm. My thing was I was going to switch camps earlier.
Yeah.
Switch camps, get time, you know what I mean? Reevaluate things, come back, have a rebound fight, and be right back where I was.
Yeah.
But they tried to mute me. This is nothing but a modern day muting, right? So it's a muting thing. When you speak out, this is what they do. It is what it is. But I'll be back.
Yeah, I mean, I really am kind of flabbergasted in why they do that. You were in the top 10, weren't you? Or at least top.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was 4-1 in the UFC.
Too, like UFC vet,
Yeah.
Can't believe they did that. That's. And you had a feud with Tai Tuivasa. You guys were talking shit about each other. I wanted to see that fight so bad. That would have been
everybody. Great. But the thing is and then what makes it so so I'm not gonna say funny because it's not a funny situation. What makes it so like a slap in the face is that I lost one fight and I asked for small time off to prepare myself. This guy loses 3 fights in a row and gets 6 to 8 to 9 months in between each fight.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So with the whole thing about the contract issues, you can't treat this guy differently than this guy, and that guy, and that guy, and that guy. Mm-hmm. You get what I'm saying? It doesn't make sense because it's not on the equal drawing board. This guy is, and I asked to fight this guy because that would have been at that time. We were both coming off of a loss. I was number 10. He was number 11. But they protected him. And he ended up losing 2 fights in a row.
He lost to an unranked guy.
Yeah.
Australia. Yeah, in Australia. Yeah. He lost to an unranked dude.
Yes, man. So 2 in a row. So they lost out on money because they were trying to mute me.
Yeah.
Period. So and again, I will not be muted. I'm gonna keep talking. So I lose followers. I lose followers because I tell the truth. Yeah. Nobody really wants to hear the truth.
Well,
We know how society is.
I think that's great, you know, to have a fighter who's like so just not afraid to speak their mind. I think that's cool. You know, I think that's I think it's shitty that UFC didn't appreciate you. Like, I feel like with Ty, they wanted Ty to be the next Mark Hunt.
There you go.
And I think they fed him an unranked guy. They're thinking, oh, he'll get back in the win category, and he still fucking lost.
Still lost.
So like, it's just annoying that they couldn't have put him up against you, because that's a fight a lot of people wanted to see. There was a lot of bad blood. That
would have gave me too much leverage. So the whole thing, when you're muting a guy, you don't want to give a guy leverage. So it's literally like they proved me right the whole way along.
Yep.
Right? And so, and again, when you do these type of things, you leave evidence.
Yep.
Right? And so this is how God works. And now you have guys like Ty who were literally still signed to the UFC on a 3-fight loser streak.
Yep. Is he still signed? He's not been cut? I mean, he's lost 3 in a row.
I'm pretty sure. Don't quote me, but I'm like 95, 99% sure.
Damn, man. That's pretty fucked up.
It is what it is. But that's life. You know, but you see, when this stuff happened and everybody knew what was going on, I didn't have teammates come forward. I didn't have the head coach, AKA, come forward and say anything. Right? You get what I mean? So that's why I have to sit back and pay attention.
Yeah.
A lot of these guys I've never disrespected, but a lot of these guys, what happens when you're a true speaker, a lot of people who are not who are cowards, I'll say it like that, who are cowards, they don't really want to rock the boat.
Yeah.
So if you're a guy who they deem to rock the boat, they'll throw you overboard.
Yeah, that seems pretty accurate.
Right? So and then pay attention to the guys when stuff happens in society, to people who look like me and people who are silent, who don't say anything. Right? It's those same people who didn't say anything when they saw I was being treated unjustly. Yeah.
That's shitty. You're like the AKA, they didn't really stand up for you or anything. Like,
I mean, you saw they had Ty Talvesa there after I left.
They did?
Yeah.
You're kidding me? No, I didn't see that.
Yeah, they had him there.
At AKA?
At AKA.
Serious?
Yeah, man, they had him there.
What a slap in the face.
No, it's not a slap in the face. What it is it's so you might see it as slap in the face. I see it as them showing their hand.
Yeah.
What their hand was the whole time. They're showing their true colors. So anybody who considers going there, I don't even have to talk shit. What I have to do is just say, look, they painted these colors. Right? I mean, and that's all I have to say. You know, so and that's the reality thing. I'm not talking shit. You know, these are people where, you know, that's like if John Jones wanted to go to AKA.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that would have happened?
No. DC
would have cried.
No way they'd have John Jones.
Yeah, he would have cried. He would have literally cried. You know what I'm saying? And so and I have to be honest. That's not talking shit, right? Right? So because Ty was all hanging out with DC, which is cool, man. Hang out with them. I keep my mouth shut. You know what I mean? I know a lot. You know what I mean? So I'll just say this, man. People show their true colors, and then you just got to sit back and see the picture they're drawing.
So they pretty much brought Ty in short, like right after you left, or were you still there, like under?
No, I wasn't an AKA at that time, probably for like 6 months, 6 months.
That's still a little messed up, but.
Yeah, but guys that were like guys who see, people know how great I am. It's just with me, it's just resources. Right? And so now at ATT, I'm able to I'm building a team around myself where it is what it is. At AKA, I was literally getting no resources on purpose. right? And again, I was quiet the whole time, right? So it's right. You never heard me complain, never heard me nothing. I took it. I mean, I just kept winning fights. But then you get to a certain level, like I said earlier, you get to a certain level where you face other people who the whole camp is around them. They have teams that are just specified and specialized around that one individual. I'm going to be at a disadvantage.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So again, now I have those resources, and now we'll see what's up.
Yeah, well, and I also wonder, because DC was the heavyweight champ while you were there.
Yeah.
Would they want another guy, like, possibly threatening him at the same camp to take his belt? Because, like,
that's insecurity.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where again, at AKA, we have a thing that we never fight each other. And that's the one thing I like about ATT is it's business.
Yeah.
It's business. So so it's more honesty. I can be more straightforward with a guy.
Mm-hmm.
And when you say I can't fight you and yada yada yada, and you want to be the center of attention. So it's one of those things where you hear about a whole bunch of sabotage going on behind my back.
Yeah.
That's what's going on a lot of times. There's a lot of he say, she say, and that's just something that you don't really need or expect from teammates. Sorry. And it was something that a few occasions when I was at the airport one time, Carol Bryant was saying something that somebody said about me, and you know what I'm saying? It was just over and over and over again, So it's just one of those things where I'm just so happy to be where I am, and again, I'm bound. I have to tell you the truth, right? And so, like, I'm the guy where it is what it is. Yeah. I'm just happy to be where I am now because it's the best. The people, the personalities, people are real here. Maybe it's just it's the different cultures.
Yeah.
This culture is completely different because nobody, it's kind of like that. That when you go to a watering well, right? Like, and there's only a little bit of water. Everybody's not, over here it's a fucking ocean.
Yeah.
So everybody has what they need. So there's no, trying to happen to step and pull people away. There's none of that over here. So and that's something that I love, the cohesion.
I love that. That's a good analogy. Like, watering. That is good. That's good. I like that. And ATT, man, it does seem like a really solid camp. Like, so they have so many people there. There's just training partners for everyone. They respect that it's business and they'll fight each other.
It's business.
Yeah.
Yeah. But let's be honest. It's honest.
Yeah.
Right? It's honest. There's some guys I probably wouldn't fight. I'll tell them, but some guys, it's business. You know what I mean? Like, if we're not cool, we're not cool.
How many heavyweights do they have at ATT? Do they have a lot?
A whole lot. A lot. I mean, I don't know. I mean, they got a lot of 205ers and heavyweights. So there's a lot of guys. You got Junior, Rosenstruck.
Oh, he's there? Oh, shit. Okay, cool.
Lins. Marcelo Gom.
Gom, yeah.
I'm missing. Oh, Hardy. There's a whole bunch of guys, so I always can get a different look.
Yeah. When JDS and Strike's supposed to fight, I think.
Yeah, they're supposed to fight. I think in like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, right?
They both are training at ATT right now, like preparing for the fight?
Yeah, they just separate them.
That's cool. There's probably got to be quite a bit of respect in that fight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's cool. I don't think I knew that both of them trained. I knew JDS trained at ATT. I didn't know about Rosenstrike though.
Yeah, man. So it's just professional.
Do you train with both those guys very often?
I don't train with Rosenstruck very often, but me and Junior have the same strength and conditioning coach now. So I see Junior sometimes on the strength and conditioning side. Right now, I'm just building up. I'm trying to figure out what's really going on with the PFL. How they're going to, do business going forward. Are we going to continue or, because it's going to be really hard for me to take year off, another year off,
Yeah.
especially not just fight wise, but also we got to be honest financially. It doesn't. You know what I mean? So I signed with them because the season format, and I know, and it's not their fault, not my fault, not their fault because of this COVID shit, right? So I'm not blaming them. I'm not blaming them. So this is not something where I'm dragging them through the mud. I'm just saying it's I signed with them because it was the one and done type of thing, right? So you fight for them, and they have an opportunity to match, right? But you win $1 million, right? And so that's something that's awesome. So that's a great opportunity that I was blessed for them to give me that opportunity. But not being able to fight for a whole nother year, it's going to be very tough financially for sure.
Because they have a tournament, don't they? At PFL, that $1 million. Yes, I have heard about that. So, but that doesn't start for a year. You're saying?
Yeah, so they canceled this year
because of fucking COVID, man.
Because of COVID, exactly.
Damn it.
So,
Damn it. So what have you been doing? Have you anything else for work right now? Because you haven't fought for a while. So how's
Man, I'm pretty good at saving money. So
that's good.
That's good. Save money. But again, this COVID shit is bleeding everybody dry.
Oh yeah, it's rough, man. There's people.
Yeah, man.
People are struggling right now.
Yeah, man. So
bad.
Pretty soon people have to shake their ass for some dollar bills, man.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Shit, you're seeing more and more people are starting these OnlyFans things all the time.
Oh man, you see this shit, man? That shit is ridiculous, bro. You got mamas on there. You got mamas on there.
Yeah. Every time you look, there's another. Check out my OnlyFans, guys.
Man.
There was an MMA fighter actually who posted Cindy something. I don't know if I know how to pronounce her last name. Posted something about her OnlyFans.
Oh shit. It's over with, bro. Hey, this world is getting fucking wicked fast. Ain't that? It's crazy. It's getting fucking wicked fast. Things in society that people would have frowned upon, not even fucking 6 months ago. People, we get into a sense of lawlessness now.
Yeah.
I think in not lawless, not just lawlessness, but also the lack of morals and ethics. We're at that point now.
Well, and then after all that with George, right? That was the fucking. Then there was riots and looting and stuff.
Yeah. What's your view on that, man? Let me interview you for a couple seconds. So what's your view on the whole Black Lives Matter, George Floyd extravaganza? And you can be frank with me, bro. Listen, I
have an opinion on it. I think there's some people who are going out and saying all lives matter, right? And that is true, but them saying that makes them sound very it's just very inconsiderate.
Yes.
It kind of makes them come off, I don't know about racist, just kind of what I'm looking for. Well, inconsiderate for sure. It's and someone posted examples about it. It's someone talking about a specific kind of cancer, and then another person saying, "What about this cancer? All cancers are something to talk about." And it kind of makes them come off as they don't care. Of course, all lives matter, but you have to acknowledge the Black Lives Matter movement first before because. All lives do matter, but things with the black lives have to be, with some of these police officers. I mean, it has to stop, man. It's not good.
Do you know the origin of American policing?
No, I don't think so.
Slave catchers.
Really?
That's literally the origin.
Really?
Yes, look it up. Look it up. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things where we have as a society. So I'm not really Black Lives Matter because number one, if you look at my skin, what color is my skin?
You're black.
No.
Well, brown, I guess.
That's brown. That's black. this is brown.
Yeah, no, that's true. Well,
So
it's true.
so
I mean, they call it black, but it is like a dark brown. But
so black is not even a color. Neither is white. So you're not white.
it's not. That's true.
You know what I'm saying? So it's something that, we have to start asking the question. Again, guys can go watch my podcast and kind of figure. I kind of break down what the whole black and white thing really is about. But the whole black and white thing, it has nothing to do with skin color because I'm obviously not black.
Yeah.
It's
true, yeah.
It's more so you have to look at it from a spiritual standpoint. What does black mean? What does white mean? Once you figure these things out, you kind of understand. So the original white wasn't WHITE. It was WIGHT. Look that up when you get a chance.
Really?
Yeah. So there's a whole bunch of things that have just been lost in translation on purpose. So and we're at a time now where I'm not black. And if you go to the Black Lives Matter website itself, you realize the people who are funding the Black Lives Matter. The people that are funding the Black Lives Matter are actually people like George Soros, who is definitely does not care about Black Lives Matter. Right?
George Soros. Who's he?
The billionaire that pretty much believes in eugenics and things that are just counter. So a lot of this stuff is just called controlled opposition. When you go to the Black Lives Matter website, the real foundation is homosexuality. There's nothing against homosexuality, right? I mean, I have something against it personally. I mean, not what I mean by that is me personally, I don't hate anybody. My opinion is it's unnatural, right? And so you can't compare something that has been scientifically proven that you are not born gay. Really? There has been scientific studies. Yeah, because there's no such thing as a gay gene. Because this is simple to explain. Simple to explain because if you have two identical twins, are both the twins gay?
I think they had. I don't know actually.
No. So there's been studies where when one identical twin is gay, it's only like 10% chance that the other one ends up being gay. But shouldn't it be 100%? If they're identical.
That's a good point. Because if you see twins, if one
identical
twins, if one starts balding or something, the other does too. I'm pretty sure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So genetically they are the same. So it's not something that's genetic. So you cannot, and it's very inappropriate, right? And this is why I'm against it. It's very inappropriate to compare something that I'm born with, scientifically, biologically, everything. I am born brown.
Yeah.
I am born melanated. They are not born homosexual according to science, according to spirituality, according to a biology. They are not born that way. So they cannot compare, and they always do this with us, with brown people. They always match other movements with our movements, like that fish that's underneath a shark, that just eats all the scraps. That's the gay movement, and that's the feminist movement.
Yeah.
Right? And so, and I could prove that easily from the 70s, the civil rights, right? So in the civil rights movement, who took over?
I don't know if I know.
The homosexuals and the women.
Right. Oh, yeah, right.
Women's suffrage and all that kind of stuff. That took over. So again, I don't hate these people. I just think that, listen, stop marketing and stop pilfering off of the pain of my people. That's all I'm saying.
Well, the only thing, what I think about the gay thing about you're not born gay is the twins thing's a good point, but I also there's married men who hide it from who it's if they weren't born gay, then why wouldn't they just be straight? You know what I mean? If they
society. So So there's a lot of societal pressures too. So like, so there's learned behaviors, and there's behaviors that you're just born with.
Yeah.
So a lot of those things that are just learned. I'm again, homosexuality is a choice. It has been proven scientifically. Period. It has been proven. Now, those guys who are sneaking out, that's because, you know, some like like during the day, Superman is Clark Kent.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So during the day, they straight man. And at nighttime, they.
Oh my god. Oh man.
It is what it is.
That's funny.
No. Hey. Like I say, to each their own. I don't agree with the lifestyle, but you do what you want to do. It is what it is. You know what I mean?
Thoughts on transgender?
Transgender? Well, that's confusion to me. You know, to me, that's just a whole lot of confusion. But again, to each their own. But, you know, like, just because you think you're a girl or a boy doesn't mean I have to call you. I don't have to be psychotic too. I don't have to. You know what I'm saying? Again, I'm that type of guy where you do what you want.
Yeah.
As long as it doesn't alter my life.
Right.
Forcefully. And don't steal from what I'm about. So so I'm a brown man. Don't try to hijack my being brown to push your narratives.
Yeah.
Right? So again, if you want to be a boy, you go be a boy. If you want to be a girl, you go be a girl. But you're not going to use the bathroom with my daughter.
Right. Yeah, the transgender bath. Yeah, there's been.
You're not going to do that.
Yeah, there's been a lot of talk about that, like how some people are kind of against it. Yeah.
Yeah. You're not going to do that. That's a period. That's because right now what they're trying to do, and I know people are seeing it, is they're trying to normalize things like pedophilia. That's what I'm saying.
Wait, remember we normalize pedophilia?
Yeah, man. Watch TV, watch a movie.
Whoa. Oh yeah, in movies. I thought you meant like, okay, yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah. Oh no, that is true. That is.
Yeah, but that's usually where it starts in movies. It starts there.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, the programming. You know, the LGBTQFR LMNOPs. You know, like they're eventually going to adopt them in. Mark my words. And they're going to get protections. Yes, they will. You know.
Well, at what age though? Like, would they be like saying is okay? Like, would they be saying like pedophilia on like 10-year-olds and stuff? You think they'd?
I don't know, man. To keep it real, you know. So I think that, you know, there's some people out there who are very, very sick.
Of course.
Right. And the thing about when you're sick, and you know you're sick, but you have power. You're going to do everything you can to normalize that sickness.
Yeah.
Policy wise, you know, so if you go look up things that pederasty, you know, these are practices. Yeah, a lot of people haven't. So
no, I haven't heard that.
This happened in Greece and Rome, where essentially, you know, again, all this stuff, there's nothing new under the sun. Everything we see today probably is technology. But we can't even say technology because our scientists still can't figure out the angles of the pyramids. So we can't even really say technology. Yeah, exactly. So for pederasty is everybody go look that up. Pederasty. I can't spell it. Sound it out. It'll come up. But it was a practice.
Type autocorrect. We'll sort it.
Yeah. it was a practice of where the soldiers, the grown man soldiers, would essentially rape the young incoming boys.
What?
Yeah. And it was a practice in the Roman military. Roman or Greek military. I forget which one it is right now.
Only boys?
Yeah. Boys, yeah. Little boys. It was like a right to initiation. Loyalty.
I didn't know that. That's fucked up.
Yeah, man. So, and those are great societies. Those are quote unquote great societies.
Yeah.
You know, so and those are the practices.
Damn. I didn't know they did that. Like, kind of. I mean, I guess I'm not that surprised, but I didn't know they did that to. So they basically the upcoming soldiers, the current soldiers would do that too.
Yeah, man.
Damn. So like in ancient days, like.
Well, it's honestly not that long ago, and like the grand scheme of time, you know, I mean, it's like, you know, not that long ago, but it happens, and so again, things like that repeat themselves.
Yeah. So are you like you're pretty religious? Like you like what's your stance on like I'm curious on like dinosaurs and stuff? Do you believe like or do you believe the world? How long do you think the world's been like? That's another debate that like some people think the world's only been around like some people think it's been around for billions of years. Some don't. What do you think? What's your opinion on that?
Thousands of years, not billions.
So, yeah. See, some people thought like I think the Big Bang Theory is like. Do you believe that or? So
you're talking about like Darwinism, right? So a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But Darwin was eventually a eugenicist. And eugenics was one of the main ideologies in Darwinism. You have to look up the human zoos and whatnot, right? You heard of human zoos?
Human zoos?
Yeah.
Like zoo for humans? They have those?
Yeah, so they had them where they had people that look like me in them. Look it up.
Damn.
Yeah, so right, and so the ideology that was behind that was Darwin. So the whole survival of the fittest was first you had to figure out who the fittest were, and at that time, who we see as the Caucasian today was seen as the more supreme being, and so with the whole thing with Darwinism was saying that we were the ones, brown people were the ones who were related to monkeys, so that allowed them to do all kinds of heinous experiments on brown people, to test the skulls. They did it in Australia. Yeah. Right. They did it in America. I mean, everywhere. So when you start actually learn about these Darwinisms and eugenics, you realize how race motivated it truly is, and how today it still happens.
I thought Darwin thought that everyone came from monkeys. Like
he did, but we were closer to the monkey.
Oh, okay.
Right, so eugenicists, basically what they were trying to prove is that white was the dominant race, right? It was the dominant gene. Blonde hair, blue eyes was the dominant gene.
Like Hitler, that's what.
Like Hitler. So, but remember, Hitler got his stuff from. Darwinism was the root of this stuff, right? So you have Margaret Sagers, you have all these people, Bill Gates' daddy, you know what I mean?
Really?
That were eugenicists.
Yeah.
They're eugenicists. And so their whole thing, and that's why they always talk about controlling the population. Right? Black people breed too much, yada, yada, yada. Brown people breed too much. So with the whole thing with these eugenicists, what they were trying to prove was that blonde hair, blue eyes was the dominant gene, dominant traits. That's not a reality.
No, I don't think that.
No, it's obvious because a white person and a white person cannot create a nigga that I know. But a black person and a black person can create an albino.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Right, and so you and that's just an easy explanation. It's kind of like the whole twin thing, right? So it's like the whole twin thing. So this being able to put these things in simple terms for people to get it. And so when they figured out that blonde hair and blue eyes was actually a recessive gene.
It is, yeah, that is true.
Right? So it's not a dominant gene. When they figured that out, then they went to all-out extermination. Now we have to decrease the numbers of these people because eventually, when they figured out that brown was the dominant gene, it's a threat to what? The recessive gene. So let's kill it off.
By Hitler, or
let's kill it off.
Yeah.
That's why he was measuring noses, measuring lips, right? Because those were all brown traits.
I'm not fully white. I'm actually quarter black, so like I wouldn't have been safe in those times.
Oh no, you would have been FUCKED.
Yeah, no, yeah, no, like even my mom, she's white, but she's like a fairly big nose. Maybe you consider her Jewish, right? Because that's kind of, they measure noses, like you said, right? So
yeah. So yeah, man. But it's one of those things where and this is why a lot of people, they're intimidated by me, because not only am I this, but I'm intelligent and I can fight. And I'm good looking. They don't like those mixes.
Yeah.
They don't like those mixes. Those mixes are a threat to society, and they're like, so being a smart brown man, if you look at simple history, smart brown men have always been deemed as, quote unquote terrorists.
Terrorists, eh?
Period.
Damn. Yeah. Did you like go to school? Like, you are for like, I've never heard any really fighters talk like this. Like, you seem like you,
So I grew up and see, this is the crazy thing why they didn't market me, which is crazy, right? Mm-hmm. So I grew up in the foster care system.
Oh.
I learned how to read in an encyclopedia. That's a fact. I got witnesses on that. Yeah, so I used to have this counselor named Mike Bryant, who, I was like 7, 8 years old. And every night he would bring me in my room a dictionary, a newspaper, or an encyclopedia, and a yogurt every single night. And then he would work. So this is how I learned from a very young age.
That's cool. That you learn just like that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And so what happens is, in order to understand the present, we have to understand the history.
Yeah.
So then we'll be able to accurately predict the future.
Yep.
Because there's really nothing new under the sun.
No, that's an interesting. I can see what you're saying on that. Like how
you should put that quote as the little you know what I mean, as the little video.
The headline, yeah.
Yeah.
Everything under the sun. Yeah, that's interesting because like you were talking about the old days, like the Roman and stuff. How like people, there was still, like having sex with, all the same shit,
But if you don't know, but if you don't know, then like it's not even fathomable today. So a lot of stuff, if you don't understand history, a lot of stuff that I speak about is going to be unfathomable to you.
Yeah.
Because a person doesn't understand their history. Mm-hmm. Right? So you said the word Jew-ish.
Yeah.
What does that mean, ish?
I don't know. It's what they're called. I mean, some say the Jews, right? But it's Jewish person. Yeah. It's like the proper term.
So I understand. So if you want to understand that before the year 500 and something, there was no such thing as a white Jewish person.
No.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
No, because you can look up the Khazarian Arab War, where the Khazarian Empire, who are a lot of the Ashkenazi Jews of today come from, they adopted Judaism, which was a people's nationality. They adopted it into being a religion.
Right. Okay. It's interesting. Yeah. That's interesting.
Right? So these things were adopted. And this is simple proof that people go, but if that's why they burn the books.
Yeah. Book burnings. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I always wondered, I mean, it's interesting because like Hitler he hated Jews, but like Jews are white in a sense. I mean, they have white skin, right? So.
Do you have a computer on you next to you? The first, well, you don't have to look it up right now, but when you get a chance, go look this up. The first people that Hitler killed were quote unquote black people.
Fuck.
Yeah, look up when you get a chance, and if you do right now or whatever.
I can look right now. I have my.
Just look up Holocaust blacks killed. Blacks in the Holocaust.
Holocaust. Okay. I didn't know that. I don't even know if I knew that there was a Holocaust for black people.
But it started off with us. They just don't talk about it. Well, but the Holocaust of black people was also the slave trade as well.
Looking right now. Holocaust.
Black victims or something, keywords.
Yeah, being black in Nazi Germany. That's one.
There you go.
Yeah, persecution of black people in Nazi Germany on Wikipedia. White people. While black people in Nazi Germany were never subject to mass extermination, as in the cases of Jews, Romania, and Slavs. Okay, they were still considered by the Nazis to be an inferior race, and along with Romania, people were subject to Nuremberg laws under a supplementary decree.
Yeah.
So it sounds like that there was still some, but not as much as with Jewish people.
So when you actually go deeper into that, you realize what truth. That's Wikipedia. When you go, everybody, when you get a chance, go look deeper into that to really realize what was going on. There was extermination with them as well.
Yeah, because Wikipedia is just like
surface level.
Yeah, you can't believe everything you say on Wikipedia because people, you can be a random person and add a fact, like what you think is a fact to Wikipedia. Yeah. I don't think there's like any limit to who can say stuff on Wikipedia. Like they just let anyone add in whatever like they want. Like someone can change the picture of someone. Yeah.
I mean, and you got to understand, Israel is in Africa. They say the Middle East, but that's really the northern tip of Africa. And who are Africans? Brown people usually, right?
Well, yeah, because Egypt is in Africa too, like, and they have like a different skin tone than and then there's South Africa too, which is there's like a lot of white people there.
But that's all new. See what I'm saying? There you go. Like the South Africans being there is not that old. It's the same thing with Australia. Same thing with Australia.
Yeah. Same
thing with Israel. Right. Yeah. Before that, there were brown people.
Yeah.
That mean, period. So I think that these realities are starting to come out. It's starting to be clear.
Well, I actually heard that with Australia, they came from England, and it was prisoners that were sent there.
The Dutch. It was a lot of Dutch and prisoners who, and they went there and they took over and they massacred. They killed everything walking.
In South Africa?
South Africa too, but Australia.
Okay, yeah, okay. I thought it was English that were okay. So Dutch. I guess it was Dutch as well. Like maybe. Yeah, because I know the Dutch.
I'm sure it was English too.
Yeah. There's this movie I think it's called Power. Morgan Freeman's in it, and
There's
that's a good movie. And like, it just kind of shows like how bad some of the white people treated the black people in that movie. They were like Dutch as well. Yeah, it's kind of the same.
Man, they had the first thing that anybody does when they conquer, they kill the man and they mate with the women. Mm-hmm. Then they create assimilation camps. So they take the assimilation camp is literally where they strip your culture and your knowledge of self away from you, and that takes 3 generations.
Yeah.
So for 3 generations, they're reprogramming you so you no longer have a sense of self.
Yep.
Right? And so then you have the breeding camps. So then they're breeding out the melanin.
Breeding camps, damn.
Yeah, look it up, like dogs. Right?
Yeah. So and humans, they do that shit? That's crazy.
Yeah. It happened in America, Australia, I mean, almost everywhere. Anywhere where they come and they conquer, they set up breeding camps.
Yeah.
Assimilation camps. Right? This is just a fact. You can look this stuff up.
Damn, breeding camps. That's fucking. They called it. That's pretty crazy humans did that. My God. Breeding camps, like it's like like dogs. That's like fucking what animal. It's
100%. But this is the history that nobody really understands. This is why Black people call themselves Black, right? That's not our original identity.
Yeah.
Period. We're not African. We're not American. Africa is the name of a Caucasian man named Scipio Africanus.
Really?
America is the name of a Caucasian man named Amerigo Vespucci. So who were we before that? The name of Africa before Africa was named Africa is called Alkebulan.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, so, all these names are all bywords. So what I try to do, because I know my identity. I know my true identity. But because it is not popularized, it is not known, and our society does not talk about it, because when it comes to things like the Black Lives Matter movement, in order to get results, the first thing you have to know is who you are as an individual. Because that's the first thing that they stripped away, which makes us literal prisoners of war.
Yeah.
If I take away your identity, if I take away your homeland, if I take away your native language, you are my prisoner.
Yeah.
Period. And so I think my people need to stop. And you got some black in you, some brown in you, some melanin in you. It's the realization to understand who we were or who we are, who we were before 1619, before slavery.
That's right.
Our
That's
true
slavery started, right? It was the 1600s, and it went on until there was the Civil War in the USA in 1800s. But it was
you had Jim Crow, right? You still have things today, police brutality, right? So that like there's still, so people always say black on black crime. You heard that before, right?
Of course, yeah. Like,
but they never talk about the fact that 80 to 85% of Caucasians kill other Caucasians.
I saw something about that, I think, on Instagram, Facebook.
But that's not a talking point. Why isn't that a talking point?
I don't know.
It's because we steal slaves.
Yeah. I mean, I'd like to think that's not true, but I know what you're saying. I mean, it's a good point. I mean, you will see like cops treat like, white people bad, but it's not as often as like with, as you say, brown people.
Yeah, but I'm going by sheer numbers. And so if you have a people complaining about the same thing over and over and over again, every decade, essentially, in recent memory, it happened before this, but in recent memory, the 60s, you had the civil rights movement. Police ain't treating us right. In the 70s, you had movements with the police not treating us right. We fast forward to the 90s with Rodney King.
Yeah, the LA riots.
Yeah, LA riots. I mean, it happens over and over again, and the same people are complaining about the same thing. When will people stop and say, well, there might be some validity to this? There's no greater proof than time. And time is telling on people right now.
It's crazy that stuff with George Floyd is very similar to the Rodney King situation, because fucking the cops and then the looting and rioting, like it's crazy. That was like almost 30 years ago, and like it's sad that there's still like stuff like that going on, like in a lot of states. Like it's yeah, and like that's Minnesota. That's not even like the South seems to be the worst, but that happened in Minnesota with George Floyd. So that's I'm not.
It happens everywhere. Yeah, brown people are still getting hung up in trees.
Like the KKK and shit.
I mean, but they don't know who's doing it now. But there's reality. Go look it up. There's brown people being hung up in trees still to this day.
Fucked up. I haven't seen. I think I had maybe seen something on that. But I don't think it happens very often, at least, but that's fucked up. I didn't. But no, I'm not saying like all people in this, or a lot like all people in the South are racist, but it does seem like that's where the most racism is.
Yeah.
It seems. Like. I'm not sure about Florida, because I know Florida's technically the South, but more like places like Alabama and shit like that seems.
Florida's kind of like a weird place. It's kind of like a melting pot. It's to me, Florida is like a conservative version of California.
Right. Well, because with Florida, there's a lot of different like backgrounds there. Like there's a lot of Cuban people there. Like yeah.
Dominicans.
Yeah.
You know, Puerto Ricans. All of them. They all here. You know what I mean? Haitians. You know, quote unquote black people. You got Europeans, Brazilians. You know, there's a lot of different people here. So I think that it's very, very hard to be openly racist here.
Yeah, I agree with that. And then you go a couple states over, and it's a lot. It's not like that. Like, you know,
proud to be an American. I'm free. If somebody talks shit, I got my gun on me.
So what's your thoughts on gun laws and stuff? Like, do you what's your thoughts on that? Do you think that you think it should be as easy to get guns as in America as it is, or?
Hell yeah, man. Hey, man, I mean, it's one of those things where this country was built on that stuff, man. And I think that, you know, our country was built on a lot of things.
Yeah.
But one thing was the gun things. And, you know, because there was lawlessness, there's a lot of people who, you know, power corrupts the most uncorruptible people. You know, so we're at a stage now in a society where, you know, one side has guns, right? And so I don't want to say sides, black, white. I'm not about that. I'm not about that. But there's people out there that are about that. Mm-hmm. And, you know, you have to be prepared for people who are about that. That's all I'm saying. I'm not about that, but I'm prepared for the motherfuckers that are. Right?
It's kind of a I can't beat them, join them type thing at this point.
Yeah.
So many people in the States have guns. It's kind of like almost unsafe to not, in a way, I guess. Yeah. It's like, and Canada's so different.
You think about places like California, New York, and Chicago, Illinois. And so all those places are all anti-gun, essentially. And that's because those places are the grassroots places of brown power, black power. Mm-hmm. And so those are the places where in the 60s, the 90s, they made it illegal to have guns there because there was a lot of people who looked like me.
Right.
Right? And so, again, people always ask about systematic, how the system works, and where do I see the systematic racism? And you can start seeing it. One place is with the guns. Mm-hmm. Another thing is with the prisons. You know, brown people, we're 13% of the population, but, you know, if you include, you know, Mexicans and our quote unquote Hispanics and everybody else, we're nearly 60% of the population's in prison. 60, 70.
Yeah. Whoa. Sorry, car alarm outside.
That's all good. You get what I'm saying? So that's a systematic thing, because then you're saying, if you say, well, they commit the most crimes, then you're just saying that we're prone to crime. Yeah. Brown people are prone to crime, so it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't. You know, so I just think that we are over-policed. So when it comes to defunding the police, I think that, you know, in communities, do I think that there should be no police officers? No. I just believe that the training should be longer than a damn month. 3 months.
That's all they get? Oh, 3 months? I guess that's...
I think it's like a month or it's anywhere from a month to or 3 weeks to 3 months, something like that. Don't quote me, but I know it's really, really short.
Should be longer, yeah. Definitely should be longer, I feel like. What was I going to say? Well, Big Pretty, we've been on for over an hour.
Hey, thank you, bro.
A really, really fun, interesting interview, man. Thank you for coming on today. Yeah.
Hey, you guys, you got to come on to the podcast, our podcast, man, and have a conversation.
You'd have me on?
Yeah, man, for sure.
That would be badass, dude.
Yeah, man. So, we should have you guys on. I appreciate you guys' support. But everybody out there, go follow at Big Pretty MMA and follow Willis _ and Fight Mike. You'll tag it. I'll still get it.
We'll tag it. We'll tag it.
And also go add my co-host at Fight Mike. All right. Thank you guys for everything.
Thanks, Big Pretty. I appreciate it, man. Thank you for your time.
Hey, take care, bro, and have a blessed day.
Thank you.
Bye.